From 2020 to early 2024, I mainly used Xbox Cloud Gaming as my main gaming console, or I guess more like platform. So I just relied on cloud gaming as my main source of gaming for a while, which in retrospect is pretty crazy and not ideal, but it was definitely doable. I have great internet, especially here in South Korea, and the gameplay for the most part was super smooth. Without owning an Xbox or a gaming PC, Xbox Cloud Gaming works on all my other devices, including my laptop, Android phone, and even TV. The Game Pass library, even for just cloud gaming, is pretty massive, and I got to catch up on a ton of games that I wasn't able to play before. But yeah, as you can expect, it wasn't a perfect experience. The long loading times when launching up a game started to get to me. On some days, the games just wouldn't launch on me even after restarting the app or the device, and the pricing structure plus Microsoft's strategy for Xbox started to look like they weren't really prioritizing the service. With all this and me getting a super sweet deal on a used Steam Deck, I stopped using Xbox Cloud Gaming since early 2024. It's been over a year and I just picked it back up over the last 2 weeks, so while it's technically still in beta, and let's go over everything that's changed and what the general experience is right now, so see if you should jump on here too. By the way, if you are wondering about these accessories, all the links will be down below, including this nice wallet collection by Xer, the sponsor for this video. Their latest products are all about style, convenience, and security, and I think these are nice additions to my EDC. This is the Xer wallet, and not only is it a slim, compact size with premium leather material and an aluminum card holder, it's got an eject trigger that just pops out your cards so you can easily take them in and out. There's an RFID block layer so you don't have to worry about card skimming. There's also card slots as well as cache storage, which is much needed for me. If you're looking for something a little more minimal, this is the Xer Card Holder Pro. It's a premium all aluminum design that can hold up to 14 cards and also has the same convenient eject trigger. With how slim it is, it's ergonomic in the hand and easy to fit in any pocket. For both the wallet and the Card Holder Pro, you can get this optional Finder card for Apple Find My or the Tracker card for Android devices, so you can track your wallet if it does get lost. If you're looking to up your EDC, definitely make sure to go check out the links below for Xer's new wallet collection, and don't forget to use my code to give yourself a special discount. So besides the Xbox app on Windows devices and smart TVs, Microsoft has now made their web app the official way to access Xbox Cloud Gaming on phones, tablets, and macOS computers. You can either play it straight through the browser or through the better practice of installing the web app by adding it as a shortcut, which hides the top bar and everything else, so it's practically a dedicated app. Like last time, you can use any controller, including Xbox or PlayStation, and even touch controls if the game provides them. But the new addition is you can finally play games using your keyboard and mouse, which is huge and super helpful, especially for first-person shooters or strategy type of games. What hasn't changed much is the resolution and frame rate. Xbox Cloud Gaming is still limited to 1080p, which is disappointing in 2025. On tablets, it's pretty decent even just at 1080p, since a game's 16:9 aspect ratio usually works well with tablet screens, and the compression is pretty decent quality on iPadOS. But on phones with wider aspect ratios, there is a ton of letterboxing, and the resolution weirdly looks even more compressed and closer to 720p most of the time. It's playable, but it just doesn't look great. And on a laptop, it seems like 1080p is being correctly streamed and it looks a lot better than on phones. But it still looks pretty compressed, so a lot of details look missing and bland, so it's not the best experience. Though with games without much UI overlays, small elements, and text, it's a pretty decent experience. But for those other games with a lot of small UI elements, the lower resolution is definitely noticeable. With a competitor like Nvidia GeForce Now supporting 4K, 1080p on Xbox Cloud Gaming, especially in 2025, is starting to feel really outdated. So I hope they can update this part as soon as they can. The frame rate is limited up to 60 FPS, which is actually fine to me. A lot of games run and stream at their highest possible frame rates since they're just running on actual Xbox consoles and remote servers and being streamed over to our devices. So it's a really smooth gameplay experience most of the time. Compared to last year, I do see marginal improvements in the initial launch loading times where I don't get random crashes anymore, the controller responsiveness is better, and the stream quality and consistency have also improved. But still, the experience does vary depending on the game and what OS you're playing from. For example, I experienced much better responsiveness, frame rate, and resolution when playing on the web app on macOS compared to the Android or iPad versions. For some reason, the iPad had a very stuttery experience even though the resolution looked better than it did on Android. And some games perform much better compared to others. Call of Duty seemed to run at an even higher frame rate with better responsiveness compared to games like GTA 5 or Forza Horizon 5, which seemed to step down in frame rate and input responsiveness. With the combo of playing Call of Duty on the responsive Mac web version, I could actually decently play competitive multiplayer, which is a huge revelation for me. You'll see this type of discrepancy across all kinds of games, so it seems like Microsoft is prioritizing which games are really important when nailing down the cloud gaming experience. Overall, the gameplay experience has improved where it's definitely a more enjoyable experience, but I do wish for some better consistency across all these games and operating systems. So that's the general gameplay experience, but how's the game library? As a whole, there is a ton of options available since this is Game Pass, and Microsoft Microsoft owns a ton of studios including Activision, Bethesda, and has partnerships with studios like EA, Rockstar Games, Ubisoft, and 2K, so you get all kinds of games including brand new AAA titles as well. It's only been a year since I stopped using Game Pass, and there are already a ton of new major titles including Indiana Jones, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, and more. I wouldn't say the indie scene or smaller titles have increased by much, but there are a lot of new games in general that I actually am interested in. I would say the selection for keyboard and mouse games isn't that big yet, but it is a new thing and slowly growing with good selections already, so I'm hopeful about that, and I think this category will provide some really good value for people with older machines or laptops that don't have dedicated GPUs. The only thing you do have to watch out for is that, like any other streaming service with a monthly subscription, some games you play might go away. The good thing is you get a pretty early heads up that certain games are going away, but it's still a bit of a bummer, but thankfully there is now a solution for this issue. By far the biggest change, which launched late last year, has been the ability to stream games you own on your Xbox account. This is huge. This is one of the biggest things I've been asking for since I started covering Xbox cloud gaming, and also makes the pricing structure make much more sense. It used to be you're only paying the highest tier of Game Pass to play games that may or may not go away in the future, but now this ensures you can keep streaming and playing the games you play because you actually own them. The really convenient thing about this is that if you did have an Xbox with some digital purchases and you don't own it anymore, you can play those games again and all your save files sync over too. So it's like you're right where you left off. The only downside about this streaming your own games is that not too many games are available just yet. There are just a little more than 50 to 60 games available here, really not much, but them offering this option and Microsoft pushing to have their own game store as an Android and iOS app are good signs that they are investing in this and pushing to scale Xbox cloud gaming to become their next big thing. Maybe that's what they're waiting for until they update their pricing model. Right now, Game Pass starts at $12 for PC, $15 for the standard console plan, and $20 for Ultimate, which is the only way you can use Xbox cloud gaming. The price depends on the country like most subscriptions, so here in Korea, I'm only paying about $11 a month. Either way, you have to pay for the most expensive plan to use cloud gaming. Before this had the feature to stream my own games, I thought $20 a month or $240 a year was a stretch. But now with the ability to stream your own games, the price is starting to feel justified since you get all of Xbox cloud gaming, online multiplayer, and access to all the other Game Pass games across any platform you own. I still stand by the idea that there should be a cheaper cloud-only subscription tier where really any person without a gaming console or PC can pay a reasonable subscription to only access and play the cloud part of Game Pass, or another subscription tier that only lets you play games you own in the cloud. Maybe Microsoft doesn't want to do this yet because they don't have their Xbox Game Store available as a dedicated phone app just yet, but that's how things are right now. When that does happen, I'm hoping Microsoft can launch some cloud gaming focused tiers, which seems to be where they're headed. If or when that happens, I'm hoping Microsoft can launch some cloud gaming focused tiers, which seems to be where they're headed. So even with my complaints about the pricing model and the inconsistency in performance by operating system or game, with the introduction of streaming the games you own, I say that $20 a month for this whole package is now more justified, and it is overall a good experience for gamers, especially for those of you like me playing mostly single player or co-op games. For now, I am going to keep my subscription to play some of the newer AAA titles that I've been missing out on or can't play well on my Steam Deck. I also know there's been some huge progress with Nvidia GeForce Now, so I'm definitely going to be trying that out too and probably make a video about it. If you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to the channel, stay tuned for that, and let me know in the comments your thoughts on Game Pass and cloud gaming and how your experience has been with it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.